Hello, this is the overview for VideoStudio Pro for those users who want to get up to speed on how to use VideoStudio and some of the tools within VideoStudio. As part of this presentation, there are a number of videos that you can use that are a little bit more detailed about the new features within VideoStudio Pro X5 and some of the key features that have been in the product for a couple of years. So let's first go through how VideoStudio works and show you some of the techniques and editing processes that you can accomplish within this easy program. So overall, VideoStudio is a very easy program to use. It is broken down to the point where users can jump into the software without having to learn a lot, and it's very, very intuitive. So let's go into that right now. So inside of VideoStudio, the interface is very simple. You've got 3 steps in your video editing process. You've got your capture step, and this is where you bring in video from the outside world. This could be a 1394 DV camera. If it's installed, it will show up, and you can capture right from your camera into your library. You can also import from digital media. These are discs and disc-based cameras and flash cameras like the new camcorders or the digital SLR or the regular camera, and as well as going from older cameras that are using an analog to digital converter that's installed in the computer or installed as an external box. We do not supply that box, but you can get them in any store to be able to support older hardware. In the edit step, this is where you spend about 90% of your time putting productions together in the timeline or in the storyboard to be able to have a video that's composited and added titles and music and all of the different effects. And finally, in the share step, the 3rd step, this is where you would share your recordings and share all of your productions. You can create files, you can upload to web, you can create DVD or Blu-ray discs, you can send it back to tape if you so desire. So there's all kinds of ways to output. In VideoStudio Pro X5, we also have the added output of HTML5, so you can make a web page based on your video production. But let's go through the basic steps within working in VideoStudio. The number one thing that you have to understand in VideoStudio is the layout of the user interface. Here you have the preview window, so if I click on something on the right side in the library, you can preview it in the window, and it'll give you all kinds of different clip lengths that you can adjust, this sort of thing, and you can play here as well. You'll notice that it says clip on the bottom, and that's because we're playing back just the clips in the video window here. You can, when you're working in the project mode inside of the timelines, you can go project and it will play back the whole project. But in this case, I'm just sort of playing clips. This is the library panel right in this area here. The library panel is where you store not only all your media, be they videos, photos, or music and audio and narration, but it's also all the other areas, for instance, instant projects. This is an area where we store instant projects where a user can drag in something that's made by Corel or another user and be able to populate it with his own content. Inside of the transition area, the next button down, here's all the transitions that you can use. We do have a category called My Favorites as you use VideoStudio more and more. Rather than showing all the templates and all the transitions, you can go in here and just select the ones that you pick as your favorites. There are a lot of different transitions that you can use, and they can all be customized. Again, if you click on them, they'll preview in the preview window and allow you to sort of play them as it comes along. The next tab down is titles, and again, these are all pre-made titles that you can use. You can make your own titles and save them right back into this library if you wanted to use it in the future. Just drag them from the timeline after you make a title and put it back into the library. It also has a My Favorites capability, so you can store your titles as your favorites if you like. There is also a color swatch and object graphic tab, and in this tab you have flash animation, frames, and objects, which are PNG files, and you can use those in your production as well. If you bring in from Motion Studio 3D, you can also make flash files and video files in Motion Studio and bring them directly into VideoStudio. And finally, the Effects tab. Inside of the Effects tab, you have a number of effects that you can use on your videos, comic book effects, diffraction effects, ripples, that are all GPU based and GPU accelerated. So you can add all these effects to your production. Finally, at the bottom of the panel, in this area here, this is the timeline. Now the timeline has 2 modes. The one mode is very simple and straightforward. That's the storyboard view. So let me just click on that. The storyboard view is simply a storyboard. You take your content from your media tab and you just drag it into the storyboard. put a piece there, put a piece there. And each one of these pieces can be very basically adjusted in this area here. So here I have a video, for instance, the first one. I can select that video and then change the in and out points of that video to trim it up a bit to see what I want to use in the future. I can rearrange these in order, like this. And generally I could output now, if I liked, right from the storyboard, just some raw clips out to a disk or out to the web. I could add little transitions inside of the storyboard as well. So if I go up here to my transition tab, I could just drag those in and pop them in over top between my clips. Storyboard mode is by far the easiest way to work within VideoStudio. But again, it's very limited. It doesn't have a lot of different capabilities. It just basically plays back in a storyboard fashion with some basic transitions, as you can see there. And then you could go up to the Share tab and send this out to whatever device or whatever media you want to use. The more advanced way of using VideoStudio, and certainly by far the most popular way, is to use the timeline mode. The timeline mode is basically a number of tracks all stacked within the bottom of the screen. So by default we have a couple of video tracks, a title track, some audio, and some narration tracks viewable by you. You can go in here and change the number of tracks just by clicking on the track manager and coming up here and saying I want to have 5 overlay tracks, for instance, or 2 title tracks and additional audio tracks. Once you set that up, you can see, for instance, that the timeline has got a number of additional tracks that you could use to do more overlays and more composites and more visual effects. So let's go in here and have a blank timeline. Let's put a little project together. I'll start by using a very popular instant project template. These templates, again, as I mentioned, are all customizable, and you can just use these as you would use them inside of a video production that was made by a professional. So let me go in here and just grab one template and drag it into the timeline. You'll notice right away that a number of tracks were filled with a whole bunch of different content. This is very, very useful because some other person has made this and it's very easy to use. You don't have to fumble through and try to learn VideoStudio to make a very polished production. At the same time, while you're using templates, you can learn different techniques as well as how to use the tools within VideoStudio. So in this case, we have these placeholders called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And what we want to do is replace those placeholders with our own content. To do that, go up into your library where all your media is. And let me just go down here and find some clips that I want to use. And here's a clip here. I'll drag that into the first placeholder. Now this could be a photo or it could be a clip. So let me just replace a clip here, find one that's long enough. You just grab your clip from up there, from the library, drag it into your timeline, and hold down the Control key. If you hold down the Control key, it will replace that original graphic. So now if I scrub through my timeline, you can see here that there's some video playing with a title. Now you can go down through your timeline and replace all the video like that. So let me go and get another piece, for instance this one, and I will drop that here using the Control key. And if I scrub through here, you'll notice that it has adopted all of the different looks and feels of the template. The other part in the template that you can do that's been pre-canned is the title. So here is VideoStudio, the title. Let me just double click on that and change it. By double clicking on that, it activates the title editing area. And you just block off, and just as you normally would within a title, within a text editor, you could just go up there and enter your own text. Once you click off the text, you'll notice that there's a number of things that you can do with this. You can rotate it. You can change the shadow, how it casts, and you can also resize the text. If you'd like to as well, to the right, you have different fonts that you can change. And you can change font size here as well as rotation. You can have text backdrops, for instance. There's a number of different capabilities you can do within this text editing area. So I go back to my timeline and let's see how it changed. So I position my cursor and I scrub through here and you'll see, okay, there's my title coming in, soccer, and it's using the animation that was in the template. So all of our templates are very easy to use. They have many, many different styles and many, many different looks. To get more templates, go into the Corel guide. So the Corel guide are the little orange buttons. So let me just click on the Corel guide here. Inside of the Corel guide, you have a number of areas where you can learn about the software. Much like this little tutorial that I'm giving you now, we have a number of streaming tutorials in 11 different languages to be able to give you an idea of how to add a title, for instance, how to do some stop motion animation, or how to use the automated music from SmartSound. You can also go to the Do More tab, and inside of the Do More tab, although it's not showing here yet, will be a number of templates that you can download and view. So you can download the template and then use it in your production. If you go to photovideolife.com, you can also share your templates. Once you have made a template, like the one I'm showing you in the timeline here, you can share that template to photovideolife.com and give it to others. The Corel guide is also a useful area for you to get additional tools, not necessarily from Corel. We have music from Jamendo, auto music from SmartSound. We have tools from Boris Effects and New Blue, as well as ProDad, and some tutorials from VideoMaker magazine. So there's a number of very useful techniques and tools and templates within this Corel guide. So once you're ready to output your project to DVD or to the web, go to the Share tab. In the Share tab, you'll be able to create a number of different outputs to a number of different devices. One, for instance, upload to the web, to Vimeo, YouTube, Facebook, and Flickr. You can go back to a camera if you like. You can go and create a video file. We support all kinds of formats, everything from iPhone right up to Blu-ray. But you can also set up your custom file formats. So if I go to Custom, I can select from a wide variety of different formats, including WebM, to be able to go out to the web. This is a more advanced use, but it's a use that is very, very flexible and allows you to go to different formats with different resolutions and different setups, as you can see here. Now, if I want to make a disc, like a DVD disc or a Blu-ray disc, just click the Create Disc menu, and you'll be able to pick from the drop-down what kind of disc you want to make: DVD, AVC HD, Blu-ray, or BDJ. Let's do DVD. When the DVD menu opens, you'll notice right away that your project is the first area in the clip area. You can bring in other projects from VideoStudio and align those within this area here. There are some advanced editing tools, which I'll not get into here, but you can go in and multi-trim the video, which means you can break a large video into smaller pieces. That's if you had brought in a video without going through VideoStudio. You can export clips from here as well in different formats, and you can also edit the subtitles if you have subtitling. But in this case, what I want to do with this video is to add some chapters. So let me go to Add Edit Chapter. So if I hit play right now, the production will play back, and you can see here, there's the soccer piece. Now what I want to do is add a chapter arbitrarily to that spot there, and I'll just say Add Chapter. I'll keep playing, and it will add another chapter here somewhere else as well if I like. So let me just scroll this down and say I want to add a chapter right here, and I'll say Add Chapter. Then I'll say OK. So now that I have chapters added and I have my main production in the storyboard, let me go to the next step. The next step is where you create a DVD menu. We have a number of menus that you can use, and these are also available for download from Corel. So let me pick this menu here. I can go in and basically change things. So for instance, I can change the title of the menu, and I can change the main graphic there. So it says game, soccer game. And I can move around different things within here. I can add graphics, that sort of thing. And I can also preview it. What I can also do is to go in here and undo everything that I've done, as well as go into the submenus. So remember, I added a couple of chapters. So the main menu has that. The submenu will have the chapters that I created. So in the submenu, I will use this format, and I can go into each chapter and rename it as I like. Again, I can put a title onto that subchapter. When you're done with this, you just hit either Next to burn or Preview. There's the production that's going to preview. That will be the output that's going to your DVD disc. Once you've previewed this, go back. and say Next. In this step here, if I had a disk installed within my burner, then I could burn the disk directly in DVD format. I can also make an ISO file if I like, to be able to burn to an ISO file. And all you have to do there is hit Burn. Burn will then make a disk image and put it onto your disk. So that's basic steps within VideoStudio to be able to do some basic titling using an instant project and then going out to a burn. There are a number of additional videos that we have available for more detailed explanations of the different areas within the software.